morning, everybody. I was just going to, for a few minutes, discuss the situation with the trains here in the Shoals. And I'm not just talking about a portion of the Shoals, I'm talking about the entire Shoals area. And um, uh, I've still been coughing, but not nowhere near as bad as I was just this time last Saturday and Friday, of course, of last week, were just were just fantastic news. As you can tell, I sound a lot better. Um, just think back about a week or two ago, I could just barely talk and all that. I mean, because I was coughing and sneezing so hard, and it turned out that I had a little bit of bronchitis, and and went to the doctor. I said I'm still coughing, but nowhere near as bad as I was uh, this time uh, last week or so. But I mean, I think the cough that I have now is just probably just a dry cough or so. It's nothing contagious though, thank goodness. But one thing I've always heard, the coughing is always hard to get rid of. Always hard to get rid of. But other than that, I'm doing a lot better than I was. But but as I said with the last live video I did, anytime you're sick, don't wait to go to the doctor. Once you feel sick, you go to the doctor immediately. But anyway, for a few minutes, I'm going to talk about the train situation. And if you saw the video from Shoals Insider yesterday, it was a short video. Uh, was stuck on Avalon Avenue, waiting on the train to go by. The train was moving, which was good. We're still concerned though, especially uh, whether there was a patient in that ambulance or there was a patient waiting for the ambulance to show up. The train had to come to a stop to meet other trains coming from Memphis. It would have been a major concern, but it would have been even more of a concern than it was. But hopefully everybody was okay. But um, but the thing um, that I've always been saying, and a lot of people, especially the people with Shoals and Insider, they've always said that there has to be a solution um, to the problem or something. But I'm sure most, if not all of you that probably watch my live videos probably hear me say this all the time, or what I've been saying for a while, is the only solution to the issue or situation is to get an overpass. And it's one thing I said, one of the last comment I made was that if they had built an overpass a long time ago, which should have done, then then it wouldn't have, then this would not have been a concern like it is now, or like it's been for years, probably before my time and my sister's time and all. But they never did do it. There's probably some people that are just stubborn to not make it happen. But Although I've been hearing that there's been people getting on the same page about getting it to happen. Now, when is it going to happen? I don't know. It probably will happen. Hopefully it will. But even if it doesn't happen, you still need to respect the trains when they go by. And what I mean by that specifically is when you approach the railroad crossings, no matter how big of a hurry you're in, don't risk your life trying to beat the train or have a wreck, whether it involves the train or not. What you need to do is when you approach those railroad crossings is come to a complete stop and make sure all tracks from either direction are all clear. Whether it's one track or two or three tracks, doesn't matter. Make sure they're all clear before you go to where you need to be going. Because if you don't stop completely and look, then all you're doing is risking your life getting hit by the train or hitting someone else. And you don't want that. You do not want that. And other thing you need to do is, and that same thing goes when you're walking. When you're walking, you approach the crossing or the tracks. Come to a complete stop and make sure all tracks on every side is all clear before you go about your before you go on about your business. And as long as you do that, you're gonna be fine. And there's no need to be scared of the trains. They're doing their job just like how we do our job. But it's just a concern for the first responders that are carrying people to the hospital, having to take someone to the hospital. Other people have to go to the hospital and all. It's just a concern. But, and I'm sure a bunch of us know a lot of people that work for the railroad. Norfolk Southern, CSX, all the railroads. But, um, but the bottom line is, don't risk your life trying to beat the train. And if there's no train coming and the gates still go down and all, it probably just is a malfunction, which does happen. It does happen. But you just have to be careful. But now when that crossing when that crossing activates and you approach it, come to a complete stop and stay where you are until the train passes and the crossing is deactivated. Once the gates and all are up and the lights have stopped flashing, don't do not go around those gates. If you go around those gates, you better look and make sure there's no train coming, because you'll be risking your life and the life of those around you trying to beat the train. And there's no excuse for it at all. But once you know all tracks are all clear, then you can safely and quickly get across the tracks and get to where you need to be going. The train is stopped. If stopped, don't get out of your vehicle or anything like that to try to walk through the train. If you even dare try to walk through the train when it's stopped and it starts moving all of a sudden, you may end up falling off of it and getting ran over by the train when it starts moving. And when that happens, you could get, when that happens, you can get injured, you can get severely injured or killed. And that is the last thing that needs to happen. And what I mean by that specifically is you do not want that to happen. what you need to do is if the train is stopped, just turn around and find an alternate route that either does not cross the railroad tracks or does cross the railroad tracks but is hardly ever blocked. That is very, very simple information for everybody to understand. Um, excuse me. But the bottom line is, even if an overpass is if an overpass is built, that will solve the problem very easily. Nothing else will. And what I mean by that, to those that think giving the crews on the trains or the railroad a ticket or a fine for blocking the crossings for a good portion of the time, that is not going to solve the problem. I mean, it will not solve the problem. And for those that think that rerouting the tracks south of town will solve the problem, guess what? It will not solve the problem. Rerouting the tracks will not solve the problem. The only thing that will solve the problem is getting overpasses and potentially, and I'm saying potentially, underpasses. Those two will solve the problem. Nothing else will. Now, that's that's not only an opinion, but it's a fact. So keep that in mind. And if you're like me and you like to watch the trains go by, it's a wonderful hobby to do, but you gotta be safe when you're doing it. Safety should be your first priority. And what I mean by that specifically is when you're at a spot that's not on railroad property watching the trains go by, don't get too close to the tracks. Because one, you'll be considered on railroad property, and two, excuse me, and two, if you get too close to the tracks when the train comes by or shows up, you can get too close and you can end up getting hit by whatever's in the train or on the train, and you can get sucked right into it, and it could be a life-threatening situation. So be careful when you're watching them go by. Have fun watching them, but be safe doing it. Don't risk, you know, getting hurt or killed when watching them go by. And don't get close to the road either when the train crosses, because you never know when a car or so could go by and get too close and you can get hit or ran over. So keep that in mind also. And I think that's pretty much all I have to say about it so far. But if I missed something, you can let me know. But I'm going to end this video right now and we'll be going to work pretty soon. But like I said, the last time I did the video, I appreciate your prayers and all for me while I was recovering from being sick. I'm doing much better. Like I said, I've still been coughing, but not nowhere near as bad as I was the last time. Thank goodness. Praise the Lord. But I'm still hanging in there though. I'm doing much, much better. As far as the coughing, it's not. I think it's probably just a dry cough. Nothing significant, nothing contagious that I'm aware of. And that's wonderful news. Or else I wouldn't have. And if I had a fever or anything like that, there's no telling how long I would have to miss work and all that. But that's not the case anymore, thank goodness. But I'm gonna end this video right now. This is the only one I'm gonna do today. But y'all have a wonderful day, and I'll um, excuse me. Um, if I don't get a chance to do another one, the day or two before Christmas or after Christmas, y'all have a wonderful and blessed Merry Christmas. And remember, Jesus is the reason for the season.